Okay, everyone out there on the internet, I'm going to save you the time. Sandpaper, Gabba, racist, I've now demonetized the video, cry more, whinging Aussies, I'm going to save you the time. There, we've said it. It's out of the way. This pitch is a fucking shit tip. It's a tip of shit. It's a shit tip. Come on. Now, I don't know if the word... I feel like the word disgrace is overused, generally speaking. Very few things are a disgrace, i.e. they lack the grace required by a certain societal standards for whatever reason. But so maybe calling this wicket a disgrace doesn't really mean anything, if anything means anything anyway, with the IPL starting at the end of March. But what I do think, in my opinion, that this kind of wicket, maybe these wickets generally, let us know in the comments, or don't, please don't, is it does a disservice. It does a disservice to Indian cricket where, like, why do they feel the need to prepare this fucking shit tip? Because India's kind of losing this game because the curator has got it wrong. This pitch just isn't up to international standards. It's not. I understand Gabba, Wacker, Perth. I understand it. I understand all of those arguments, which is such a misnomer to use those arguments. But that aside, they're playing the third test on a fucking shit tip. Before I let you come in, Pez, and I want you to come in and let me know your thoughts on the first day's play here. Because at the same time, I'm kind of having some fun. I'm kind of enjoying it. TGC is powered by CRED and has been powered by CRED throughout the Border Gavaskar Trophy. Pez and I are back in Australia now after our 2.5, 3-ish weeks in India. But CRED has been powering us all the way through the Border Gavaskar Trophy, as has the Scan and Pay feature, or as I've been calling it, SAP. SAP. Now, they haven't told me to say that, but that's what I've been saying. SAP. Scan and pay feature. You can pay anybody you like. Just scan the code. Pez, what's been under the scanner for you on day one of this test match?
Thanks for bringing me in.
Yeah.
I suppose I'm confused at the moment because I felt the same as you at the end of India's innings. And I thought it would be a good time to canvass what people thought Australia would make. And no one will, no one is going to confess that number now because Australia's the best team in the world again. Because the last thing that happened is the thing that will always happen. But with India, what did India end up? 109?
109.
I mean, I had concerns about what we're about to see, and I was going down your path of the view about the deck, but somehow the skill of the Australians has saved the valour of the BCCI and its wickets, because it turns out that if you trust your defence and play straight and only broom occasionally, and also the Indian spinners somehow bowl a pile of shit for ages, then you can prosper on the deck. So, yeah, under the scanner, again, is, like Anglo versus Asian morality. But I suppose that's under the scanner of, our entire business venture. So,
Pez, when Australia bowled India out for 109, I was hoping by the end of the day that we'd have them 3 down. In their next innings, that was that with only a deficit of maybe sort of 110. That was sort of dreamland for me, which is next sort of Sleep City. Yeah, that's that's what I was hoping for. I feel like India's had their first bad day of the series because but I also wonder if they feel like they have to chase the game so much, given that 109 in the first innings very rarely wins you a test match. Although I suppose in 2019 at the Headling test match, Australia bowled England out for 60 or 70 and England obviously won that game. So, it obviously can happen. And I don't necessarily feel like Australia's in front, but it's not by much, because if India somehow takes 6 for 20, which I feel like is just going to happen every time I see Jadeja come into bowl, and then India make 200 and Australia have got to make 130 in the fourth innings. Well, that feels about 70 too many. So I just, I'm scared of hope. It's hope again, Pez, which scares me.
Oh, look, I mean, my view about the deck thing in this circumstance is I'm all for variety of wickets across the globe.
Sure.
And
Same.
to the point where, like, I think I've defended Indian decks being, highly turning wickets. You can go back to Ernest Cricinfo blog articles I wrote in 2016, about things like this. Like, I think broadly speaking, like, there is a bit of an Anglo bias towards what a good wicket is, from time to time. But there's also, it also begs the question with days like today, like, what's the line? At what point do we go, like, okay, this is a bit silly. This is a little bit silly. Like, I can say from a personal perspective, like, I don't like 2-day test match because, like, I want something to do on the weekend. It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
I want to turn on the cricket. Now, I know.
That's perfect.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's just meant to go for 5 days. I mean, I need escapes. There's inflation. I've got children running around, which I'm grateful for and stuff. But I need my escapes. So. If the BCCI could hear that, that'd be good. But yeah, as far as this game is concerned, I mean, I do think the way Australia batted actually does put a little bit of credit back onto the deck. And I actually think it just withdraws some of that the notions of disgrace a little bit because you can obviously bat on it. It does remind me of like a Carl Barron gag from, decades ago where he's like, everyone in Australia knows how to read until they look at a parking sign and you just keep turning around. Is this all right? Yeah, hang on. Have I got this 2 hours?
Is this public holiday?
You keep turning. It's like, I can't read anymore. And I kind of looking at this game going like, is Australia in front? Like, I keep squinting, just going like on the surface, I'm like, knock over India for 109, finish 4 for, what is it, 150? What are we? And I'm like, that they've had one of their best days. They've had one of their best days of Test cricket in a decade, and you just look at it on the surface, you're like, they've bossed it, and then as you say, it's like, for how long? Like at 1 for 43, chasing 109, I was like, this could be the peak of the game for Australia right now. Australia could have played its absolute best, but it kept going and going and going. And I actually think 7 for 80 in the first session aside, or whatever it was, probably the cricket story of the day is how well Australia have performed and their response to the pretty searing criticism they received after the last test.
It did feel, though, when Jadeja bowled Marnus off the no ball, was eventual no ball. Now, that did feel at that moment, had I left the room and come back 5 minutes later, they could have been playing, Surya Kumar Yadav highlights from his greatest Mumbai Indians innings. And I'd be like, what's happening? Oh, the game's over. Oh, they've got to fill some time. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, I guess I just missed it. It did feel like...
Sky's on, and I think I know what happens in this one. You watch any game of cricket played on Star in India when in your hotel room or whatnot, like Australia's in it and it's close. You're like, come on, boys. Like, oh wait, that's right. This ain't gonna end well for us.
Yeah, all of a sudden, Haris Rauf has won the 19th over in the World Cup in a Pakistan-India final, and he's going to bowl one into the wicket, and Kohli plays a shot down the ground, and the MCG goes crazy. Wasn't I watching the Test match?
I'm not. Gideon Haig read a great article mentioning this morning, and he might have mentioned this, or someone anecdotally has. I'm sorry, I can't remember, but it was. I think the late Andrew Simon said, I thought I was a good cricketer, but then I watched myself on TV in India, and all I do is get out for 0 and get smashed for 6.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, hey, a really good day for Australia. Matt Kuhneman picks up 5 for 16 off 9 overs. Queensland's finest there, and Australia bats really well. They pretty much all batted well. I thought Marnus he looked like he was having a really hard time facing Jadeja, but he did what Greg Chappell asked. He showed fight, and I don't know how, but he did, and he batted around Khawaja, who in turn had to start batting around Steve Smith when Steve Smith came out, which was counterintuitive given Khawaja was on 60. But he did that. Khawaja was crisp and precise, and I'm told by a mate immediately after the day's play was interviewed, and they asked him what he changed from last game, and he said, "I didn't change anything from my playing."
Well, that's kind of how I feel, man. And I think the parking sign analogy is great because I keep turning around thinking like, nah, I feel like India were just crap today. I mean, they burnt 3 reviews. One of which Marnus was out LBW, luckiest batsman in the world. He gets bowled off a no ball. It just, I don't know, it just feels like, I mean, and then he was on 0. He makes 31, but he's in a partnership with Khawaja of nearly 100. I thought Khawaja was excellent, by the way, today. I think he was absolutely fantastic. And it just, I just feel hard. It feels hard to really understand what the truth is about this game, where Australia's 47 runs in front, but is that equivalent of like 200? Because every run is kind of worth 4 in this game, and but at the same time, tomorrow morning is going to be moisture. Was it moisture in the deck? You know, Australia's got a long tail. They've got Carey in next, and then Stark is in. Then Lyon, then Kuhneman, then Murphy. It's a long tail. Maybe Murphy and Kuhneman the other way around. But it just feels like 6 for 20s on the cards. All of a sudden, lead of 70. Axar Patel scores fucking 45, and then Australia's got to chase 80, and that's 2 men. You know, just I don't know what the truth is, but I just thought India were put under the pump today because they were trying to defend 109. They thought they probably had to take a wicket every ball, and I just think the curator of the pitch is 99% responsible for that. Anyway, that aside, mate, I want to. You're right about Matt Kuhneman, who bowled sensationally today. I want to make a comment about Alex Carey, who I thought has been throughout this series outstanding today. Maybe the term was a little bit more consistent in its pace or trajectory. No, that's actually not true. There was balls that were rolling on the floor as well. But the stumping off Rohit Sharma early on, that is a very, very sharp bit of work. Which Rohit Sharma doesn't really try to get back in his crease, so it looks easy in the end.
But it exploded, didn't it?
Mate, and the pace on that. I mean, I thought Carey's been fantastic. Pretty much throughout the series. I think he's batted okay as well. I know he's got out reverse sweeping a few times, but Lyon takes 3 more wickets. You know, Todd Murphy gets Kohli again. That's 3 times in 3 games they've played against each other. Is that right? Yeah. It's just a really good day for Australia, but it does still feel on a knife edge because I think India still have better players in these conditions. But it just feels like a shootout. I mean, it does feel like a shootout. If India get it right tomorrow morning, who knows? But I mean, they've had their first bad day of the series, I think, today, and Australia's played well. But you know, Australia are a good team. It's just fucking hard to bat.
It was awesome, man. You know? It was awesome. Like there was 2. I felt there was, you know, it was a day of 2 halves, to bastardize a cliche. In that, like the first half was like, this is a goat track. Shit tip of a wicket. It's a disgrace. In fact, it's so bad that it is offering me the perfect grade cricket excuse to invalidate the entire series, which is to avoid the series. It's a coping mechanism.
Bring the boys home.
Yep. And then I got the rare opportunity. All Australians got the rare opportunity to engage in what Indians have been doing this entire series of just actually advising Indians as to how to play spin on these decks. You know, like you actually have to play. Just one of my favorite genres of online comment is like, you know, you get half the comment before you can click read more, and you click it, and you've actually got a 1,500 word fucking thesis from someone with Doritos on their belly telling you how to play, how the Aussies have to play spin in India. But today, the Aussies played spin well. And I do think, you know, because it's not going to be their opening monologue will be the thing that people react to. Like, I think that the Aussies actually saved a little bit of the credibility of the deck today. I had massive fears about like Australia getting rolled for 40 or 50 or 60 or something. Yeah. Just like, they can't play on this. But yeah, it was interesting. India bowled they bowled 2 lengths, so a lot of full tosses, and Australia, you know, as we said yesterday, was it, mate, or the day before? Yeah, like when we did our last pod, like Australia's getting better at playing these decks because they're spending some time doing it, and I just find it's a shame that it's 2-0 already because they're working it out. you know, and this is a good game. I agree with you. Some people texting me saying like this test is over. Australia's won this test, and they're going to be gutted that they didn't win the one before. I mean, I'm holding back on that kind of stuff. I've got to say, I think there's a long way to go, and but you know, it was I guess it was a good day.
Yeah, well, that's it, because yesterday we had this brilliant 5-day test match, but this test match is going to go for 2 days, and I'm having a really good time because my team's slightly in front, so I'm like, oh, yeah, this is good. So I understand now, like, and then I jump online because my team's having a little bit of success just for a little bit.
I'm listening to all the podcasts after today.
And then I see a play and miss, and then I delete my account. So it's hard to... I'm kind of wrestling with that, you know? I'm kind of wrestling with it. Yeah. All right, should we get into hashtag AskTGC? Whilst you scroll there, Pez, I had one in the comments. Hey, if you want to get your hashtag AskTGC read out, drop it in the comments with the hashtag AskTGC, and we'll read it out on tomorrow's show, perhaps the last day of this test match. Will Stevens wrote in, says, hashtag AskTGC, does getting a track in your hair automatically make you a better cricketer? Matt Kuhneman of New Haircuts Deluxe on tour, plus a cheeky little track equals taking wickets early for the nation. So he's got a little sort of speed stripe number just sort of shaved into the head, Matt Kuhneman, which is I like the days of yore where the guys went over there and they shaved their heads because it was too hot. Might be some sports science behind that. I know Pat Rafter did that as well in sort of the glory years of Australian tennis, if you will, and I know that you will. I like guys going over there just doing stuff with sort of facial hair or just shaving heads.
Doing something, showing intent of the showing salad intent.
A little bit of fight with your hairline. That's what I like to see,
mate. Okay, have I been blocked on? Have we been throttled on the grade cricketer, or is this a reflection of what happens when India doesn't succeed? Because I put up this invitation for us TGCs 30 minutes ago. And just statistically speaking, he goes, this is no pissing in our own pockets. Statistically speaking, if you put that invitation up 30 minutes ago, you have somewhere in the realm of 100 submissions from people and several hundred likes. Now, 30 minutes ago, I've put it up, and I've even put a picture of Ian Healy to go with it. And it's got 7 comments and 5 likes. Now,
Pez, 168 people have viewed it. What the fuck is going on? We've been throttled.
Have we been throttled, or like India really doesn't like when they have a bad day?
India's offline. They've jumped offline.
India's offline.
This video's been demonetized because I used the word racial in the first 5 seconds, and there's been no view count on this because they haven't absolutely smoked us today. So there goes the business model.
Oh my God! Isn't it incredible? Jagandeep Singh says, should Australia just come to India with stand-in captains like Adam Gilchrist in 2004? And I suppose Ajinkya Rahane for India last time around as well. They love teams that win love a stand-in captain, or I should say they hate one. ICT fan says hope for 6 for 20 tomorrow morning session. Yeah, I would if I was Indian as well. Liam Blackwell says, what just happened? Is this safety or Australia just better at indoor cricket? Indeed, been trying to contemplate that ourselves. Peter Lamanche says, indoor India with a place where nothing can possibly go wrong. Oh, that's the first thing that's ever gone wrong.
What a reference. What a reference.
So how, and Rahul says, so how are Australia going to fuck this one up tomorrow, lads? I'm not doing that.
Question.
I think they are. I'm not getting gallows humor on. I'm not getting gallows on this. I think that Australia's just improving, and it's good shit. It's good to see for now. But I'm gallows ain't far off. It could happen.
Mate, I'm just really disappointed. There's not even any bots jumping online asking if I want to see some stuff, some plus 18 content. So I don't know what's going on. Is Russia involved? I want to blame someone. All right. Well, as Ashwin posted yesterday in his video, how to play spin in India, I'll be watching that video and just seeing how they go tomorrow. Cricket, the internet, discourse. Oh my God, we're going to get fucking hammered in the comments. See you guys tomorrow.